unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
A bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes.
With Xfinity X5. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast. Free wherever you get your podcasts.
Today is now a podcast. Available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to our special hour dedicated to Home Sweet Home. Hoda will be back a little later in the show. And one way to create an inviting living space is by clearing out all that clutter. So right now, we're going to help you tackle what might be the messiest space in your home, the garage. Maybe your garage looks like this, or maybe this, or this. Not to worry, no job is too tough for the Neat Method organization expert, Ashley Jones-Hatcher, who dropped by when Chanel was here with some awesome ideas. Take a look.
The garage can feel so overwhelming when you step into it and try to figure out how to organize it, but it's so easy. So one of the things that we love doing at Neat Method is creating zones. Over here, you're going to find that this is all sports and outdoor related. Oh. And if you break your areas into zones, it just helps keep things so much more together. Cool. So one of the things that I think is really helpful is to get things off the ground. And this storage solution from Amazon helps do just that. This is storing lawn chairs, beach umbrellas, and it makes such a difference. And it's really easy too. It's got Velcro straps that are adjustable.
And is that the freestanding storage unit?
No, that's right here.
What is that?
So for the freestanding, so this is a shelving system that allows you to also go vertical in your garage space. So here you'll notice the shelves are adjustable, and I've got different categories labeled on each shelf to really drill in and make things a lot easier for us to find.
Yeah, I mean, we were both saying this is the best looking garage we've ever seen. And one of the things that you do so well is that you use clear containers.
Yes. I mean, it helps you see what's where, right? It makes it so much easier for you to find things quickly. But these are actually weather-tight containers. They're from the Container Store, and they're a necessary item in your garage. It's going to help with keeping all that water, all those bugs out so that your stuff stays protected and nothing gets inside of it. So every garage needs these totes.
You know, it's interesting, too, because quite often, if I don't have a clear container, I forget what's in it.
Yeah.
And then you don't even use it. And then before you know, the kids can't fit it if I put clothes in there. So you talk about getting things off the ground. Is this a solution to that?
Yes, this is a utility track system. It's also from the Container Store. But you'll see here, things like this stroller, if you try to lay it on or set it up on the ground, it's going to fall over. Right. So these have all types of hooks and accessory options. It's easy to use and allows things to stay where they need to.
Now, walk us over to the helmets and the hats. This looks like a very, those containers, or what is that exactly? Some sort of tack board?
Let me tell you, this is from Wall Control, and this is like the way to add personality to your garage. This company has 12 different colors of pegboards, and you'll see here I created sort of a sports zone. Wow. We've got a drop zone to make life easier to get out of the house, and then I've also put the kid helmets down here to make it easier for you to get to them and to help get the kids involved. I know you guys have kids too, right?
Yeah, and believe me, our garages do not look like this.
Yeah, and my kids play soccer. We have more balls than I can't even tell you.
So if you have all the balls in the world, you need this mesh storage bag. Let me tell you what's so amazing. It can Velcro open right here so that you don't have to, let's say you want the blue ball at the bottom, you Velcro open and grab what you want, and then you can close it right back instead of having to dig through the entire ball bag.
I know what to get Chanel for Christmas.
Please.
All right, bikes. bikes take up the most room, and so
wow. Look at this.
You hang them.
Yeah, you hang them because, you know, new bikes, they don't always have kickstands either. So this here is from Store Your Board. It has adjustability. It can store up to 5 bikes. I love that there's a shelf above so you can keep knee pads and extra bike parts and accessories. And, you know, your kids may not put their bike up every single time, but at least knowing that it has a permanent home is huge.
That's so cool. And wait, really quickly, what about like little scooters?
Oh, I was hoping you guys would ask about that. So look here.
Oh, look
These
at that.
2-wheel scooters, they have their own little parking garage too. Now, normally we would turn this over to the side there, but these guys will not stay up on their own.
It's true.
This scooter stand from Amazon, it's like $11. It is well worth the investment. This is all the tool area. So we're going to start here with this utility track. Now, this is from the Container Store. This entire track is in 3 pieces. $70, but it helps you get your broom off. Each one of these has a weight capacity of about 100, so we're looking at 300 total. This ladder is very heavy, and it's standing up there just fine.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so for your hardware, which again, nobody has ever seen something this organized in their entire life. Talk to us about this wall.
I love this wall. This is for all things tools. I mean, one of the biggest things about organizing is if you don't see it, you are not going to use it.
100%.
This system, it helps you. And remember, these are the same pegboards from Wall Control. We're using all the same color here, and we're showing a different use for it. And Wall Control has screwdriver accessories, tool magnetic strips, all these things that help you put your tools on display.
So what about people who want some shelving in their garages? What do you think is the best use of that space?
So again, on your shelves, you're going to want to make sure that you're creating zones and giving everything a specific purpose. So we've got this tool chest right here, this pull-out drawer. This is from Lowe's, and it stores all your nuts, your bolts, your washers, and there's so many sizes for all of those parts. So this is going to help keep it in shape so that you're not running around frantically looking for a piece when you're going to assemble something.
I mean, we can never find any of that. So, and then you keep all your old paint on the top, it looks like up there.
Yeah, I mean, to make it a little prettier, we color-coded the cans just because we want to give a little razzle-dazzle. But yeah, we're storing things up. And the other thing you want to keep in mind, this client has kids. So things like paint, chemicals, cleaners, we want to keep those a little bit higher up and out of reach so that the kids aren't getting their hands on them.
Okay, you also say the ceiling.
Ceiling, that's what I want to see.
Utilize the ceiling.
Yeah, we've got, look at this guy here. So this is an overhead ceiling mounted rack. You have all of this ceiling space. You might as well use it. Now, I would say that you want to use this for things that are seasonal. So you don't want to be getting up and down on the ladder all day long, right? But holiday decorations go perfect up here because you take them down when you need them, and when the holiday is over, you put it back up.
What a clever idea, putting all those seasonal items on the ceiling. To check out any of those products, head to today.com/shop.
Trevor, thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you, man.
We should stipulate a few things for people watching and listening. It's about 102 with the heat index.
Is that what it is? I don't know. I don't know.
So if we're a little dewy, that'll be the reason why.
But we're outside, which is good.
We're outside on a summer day.
Yes.
And we should also say, you demanded, it was in a note that you wrote, hand wrote.
Yes.
I have to be in front of a billboard of myself.
Well, what I like is to have a billboard to remind me that I did have some semblance of a professional job before the pandemic. So I like to have that as a reminder for myself.
Yeah, there you are in a suit looking very official. So let's talk about that, what it's been like. I mean, it's when we all started this 2 Marches ago, you probably thought, you know, I'll be in my apartment for a couple of weeks, and now here we are, 15 months later.
Yeah.
What is it like for you now as compared to the beginning? Have you settled into this kind of show?
You know, I don't think anybody has settled into anything during this period. I think what has been interesting about this period of time is that unlike any other time in human history, no matter who you were affected by the pandemic in some way, shape, or form. Some of us managed it better than others because of the resources we had, and some of us didn't. You know, some of us took a mental toll. It took a mental toll on us that maybe other people didn't experience. And so I think what's been really interesting is the best way to answer your question is to say I've gone through phases.
Yeah.
You know, there was the initial period of the pandemic where I thought, you know, I'm going to be fine. It's 21 days, because that's what they said, 21-day plan.
Yep.
21 days. And
Yep.
I thought I can do 21 days. And then I thought, you know what, it might be 2 months. And then we hit that period, especially when we got into like, you know, the winter months where it was like, man, this is just unrelenting.
Yeah.
It's nonstop. It just keeps on going. And yeah, the best way I can put it is I've been surviving. And I think like many people out there, I've been coping, and then there's moments where I feel like I cannot cope.
Right.
And then there are moments where I go like, I'm fine, I can do this. But it has definitely not been a normal situation, nor do I try to make it normal.
So how do you, as a performer, you're a stand-up comedian, your life is in front of an audience. You tell a joke, you get the response, right? You get the affirmation, the thing I thought of was great. How do you adjust that doing a late night comedy show where you're in a little nook in your apartment?
I adjust it because I have to. And that's what's been the one thing that has saved me mentally, is understanding that the situation is, therefore I have to be, you know? And so one of the quickest things I did with the pandemic was I accepted the reality of what I was living in. And I think that's where a lot of people struggled, is they didn't accept it. They went, when are we going back to the office?
Right.
When are our kids going back to school? And it's good to ask those questions, but not to live in a perpetual state of not accepting your reality. And so for myself, I literally just had to say, well, what if there were never audiences? And what if you never were in a studio? And what if you never had space? And what if you never act accordingly? Because what I realized very quickly was I was going to lose my mind if I kept waiting for something that was never going to end, or something that might never change. And so, yeah, I found as a performer I had to find a different gear, a different conversation that I would be having with an audience. Because like you and I now, this is similar to how I make the show. I think of one person, think of one set of eyes, one almost like collective idea of a human being who watches my show. And it's almost the imprint from all the people who came to the studio.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, that person is here now. I'm talking to them. What would I like to say to them?
Life is springing back to normal. There are a lot of shows that are thinking about coming back or have come back. How are you viewing the next few weeks or months and getting yourself back into that studio?
Well, that's the first thing I've had to do, is say, I'm not going back. How am I going forward? You know, and so like many people who have been lucky enough to emerge from the pandemic, I've had to ask myself, what are the lessons I've learned from this time? And how will that affect or augment my life moving forward? And that is no different to the office. I have to ask questions for all of us. How many days a week do we need to be here physically? What are we doing and why are we doing it? How are we doing it? How do I want to live my life, you know, in accordance to the show, and the show in accordance to my life? How do I want to figure out those pieces? I think those are some of the things that I'm trying to figure out now. So for myself, what is the studio? What is the studio I go back to? What is the journey I move forward to? These are all the things I'm trying to play with. But what I don't want to do is try and go back to a life as if this thing didn't happen.
Right.
Because I say to everyone in my life, if you are going to live as if the pandemic didn't happen, man, you're almost living in denial, because this has been one of the greatest existential threats to humankind that we've seen in a very long time.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement.
Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us? Yes.
There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
We've had a pandemic. We've had a presidential election, a new president, an insurrection. You had the murder of George Floyd just over a year ago. When you and I talked, I think it was about 3 years ago,
Yeah.
we were in that studio, and you said something to me. You said, I think at the end of the day, the show has to be funny. However I deliver it differently
Yes.
than other late night shows, you got to laugh at the end.
Right.
So how do you navigate those heavy issues and those heavy moments in our society and still be funny about it in the way you've been for the last year and change?
I ask myself what the purpose of that funny is. And I think that's something that during the pandemic I've really crystallized in myself as a human being. I've come to realize that I don't use humor to belittle or to make fun of a situation. I use humor as a coping mechanism. I use humor to remind myself of where I wish to be as a person, you know, and that is in a place where I'm smiling, in a place where not everything is the worst in the world. And that's what I think comedy does. You know, when a child falls or a baby hurts themselves, what's the first thing you try and get them to do? It's to laugh again.
Yeah.
You want them to smile. You know, not because you want them to forget the pain, but because you want them to remember how they were before that pain entered their lives. And so now when I make the show, what I realize is I can use humor as a pressure release valve, you know, for the moments. And I can also use humor to almost deconstruct what is happening. You know, sometimes humor helps you because it's very honest.
Yes.
You know, and so what I'm really trying to do now is say to an audience, tune into my show if you would like to be kept abreast of what's happening in the world, and if you don't want to feel like it's all doom and gloom, because I don't believe it is. And I don't believe we can ever live like it is, because if that's the case, then we've lost all hope. And if we've lost all hope, what's the point of living?
How do we get back to some place where we can have conversations, where it's not just about the tweet that was a burn, or that, you know, that's what politicians do now.
Yes.
They just want to signal to their side that I'm fighting for you and here's a tweet. How do we get back somewhere, not perfect, but somewhere in the middle where we can talk?
So I think there are a few things that I've had to acknowledge for myself as a person. Is one, who am I talking to and why? You know, I think there are a lot of bad faith actors out there, a lot of people who don't want to have a conversation with you. They just want to, quote unquote, own you.
Yep.
I'm not trying to have a conversation with that person. But there are many people who I am trying to have a conversation with. And so when you ask me how I think we can get there, I don't know how the we can be collectively, but to go to the old adage, I'll just try and be the change. You know, I'll try and talk to as many people I don't agree with as possible. I'll try and engage them in a civil manner. You know, I try and stay away from like the straight up, like bam, bam. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna tell jokes. I'm still gonna have fun with that. And if you come at me, I'll come back at you with a joke. I'm still a comedian in that way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like hard conversations, I would like to have those more and more with people. You know, I would like to have more moments where I engage someone in a space where we know we don't agree, but we both see each other as human beings.
Right.
I want to practice that more and more and more as a person. And so on a societal level, I don't think it is possible for us to ever get back to that until we look at all of the things that make it impossible. So social media fundamentally makes it impossible because it is designed to get as much engagement as possible. That's how they generate what they generate, you know? And so maybe there's a way to clean that up. Maybe there's a way to say to social media companies, hey, we're incentivizing you to find some way to make people not just enemies with each other. Stop putting these posts up of Willie where Trevor says he wants to burn down his house. You know, he doesn't need to see that. How is it helping him?
Right.
And in media, I think we have a role to play, you know?
Sure.
Are we only broadcasting conflict, or are we trying to have civil conversations, you know? Because the thing that I always try and explain to people is this, you know, and this is like how I think of my show. I go, I don't pretend to not be biased. I have my opinions, and I share them with people. What I hope we can start to do more of in society is agree on a reality. Then we can fight about that reality.
Right.
You know, so think of it like a game of basketball. And everyone is fighting over the same ball and the same rim, but they all agree that those things are there. Then they can fight about how the game is played. That was a foul, that wasn't a foul.
Right.
You know, you've got this many points, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
But you're agreeing on the reality of the game.
Right.
Right now in society, we're getting to a place where we don't even agree that there's a ball.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes. With Xfinity X5. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
So I mentioned new administration. How has it been for you digging into the Biden administration? Obviously much different from the Trump administration, but do you approach the show differently with this man in the office?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, there is no lying that Donald J. Trump was, I think it was Jeff Zucker who called him this back in the days, a one-man publicity wrecking ball machine. That's what he says, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
You know? There's no denying that that's what Donald Trump brought. Now, while that, I think, had good elements because it brought people into politics that weren't necessarily interested before, the downside was it all became about him.
Right.
And I honestly believe that most issues in society are not about Donald Trump. They're not all his fault. They're not all because of him. He might be a symptom, but he's not the cause. And so because he was really good at garnering that attention, it then made society unable to have conversations around the real issues that were taking place. You know, and so now I'm trying to focus more on the issues than on the politics of the issues. Because that's the thing about America as well, that I've really come to realize, especially during the pandemic, is America makes everything political. Everything is left or right.
Yep.
Everything is red or blue. I didn't grow up like that. You know, I hear people all the time in America saying, well, as a Republican, well, as a Democrat. I've never said that phrase in my life because we've never done. In South Africa, no one says, well, as an ANC support, as a DA support. No one says that.
Yeah.
In fact, where I'm from, we would spend more time criticizing the people we voted for than the people we didn't vote for. Because you elected them to do something that you want,
right.
Ergo you would criticize them.
Right.
America's really interesting in that regard, and I think that discourse doesn't lead people to have real conversations. A mosque isn't political. And so how you use it and where you use it, these are things that people can discuss, but it shouldn't be political. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trash shouldn't be political. Any conversation in life shouldn't be political. There's so many that shouldn't be political, and yet we are making it that. And so what I'm trying to do now, and Biden delivered on one thing that he promised on, and that was he's going to be the president that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
That's been great, because now we get to delve into issues that affect everybody. Because one thing that I think every American can agree upon is, regardless of who's in office, There are still people who are struggling to pay the rent. There are still people who are struggling. They haven't seen a wage increase in years. There are still people who don't know whether their children will be able to go to school. There are still people who don't know how they're going to put food on the table. There are still people who don't know if they can afford healthcare. That will always happen from administration to administration. So I think it goes beyond politics. And so now on the show, I look at the issues, and then we'll touch on the politics that may affect it. But I think we need to have more interesting conversations about what affects us as human beings.
You had a pretty good strategy during the Trump years, which you said in our previous interview too, is I refuse to be perpetually outraged. You just can't be outraged every minute of every day and have a healthy life or run a comedy show. So did that help you get through those 4 years of Donald Trump where you couldn't look at every tweet and set your hair on fire? Yeah,
definitely. You know, I think a lot of people also like to get enraged. You know, it'll be like, oh, Trump tweeted this. And it's like, yeah, but you don't have to look at all his tweets. Oh, Trump made this joke at a rally. Yeah, he made that joke to his people. You don't have to get angry about everything that the person is doing. I would always say to people, think about what's offending you and what's affecting you. They're two separate things. You know, I would even say that it even happened with comedians in and around that time. You know, people were getting angry at comedians and they were like, how can you say that? How can you say that? How can you say that? And I don't think people shouldn't be held accountable, don't get me wrong. But I also think people have to ask themselves sometimes in life, are you allowing yourself to become enraged by things that are not happening to you necessarily? You're going to go out of your way to find a thing that somebody said, look at what this person said in Thailand on the train. Is that going to make you angry now?
Right.
You know what I mean? You're living in Ohio and you're going to get angry about what someone said in another country, on another continent to another person. Man, we cannot live like that. And so what I learned to do was ask myself, what is affecting us and what is just offending us? The things that are affecting people, let's deal with those issues. Things that are offensive, you can have fun with them. That's comedy.
You're also going back and doing stand-up, I understand. You got a tour coming up.
Yes, I am.
What's the plan there? Is there one yet?
Yeah, there is. There is. I'm excited, man. This has been the longest period since I've started stand-up that I haven't done stand-up, you know? And so I actually was going to wait a little bit longer, and then I did a show with Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock and Michelle Wolf at the Stand in New York. It was a surprise show. Dave Chappelle said, come and watch a show, and then he tricked me, and the next thing I was on stage. And he was like, why aren't you on stage? And I said, I don't actually know. I'm waiting. He said, man, it's time. Let's go. And what I realized even in that moment when I was on the stage, I didn't have anything prepared for that moment. I didn't have an idea. But you know what? It felt like home. And I could feel the audience was starting to learn how to be an audience again. We were all experiencing this thing together. And that's why for myself, comedy is something I can never let die. Because how many times in life are we going to experience, or how many times have we taken for granted a space where hundreds or even thousands of people can come together for the purpose of laughing, Willie. Laughing, having a good time, enjoying themselves. Not there to fight, not there to argue about which team should win or shouldn't win, not there to cheer about politics, but just to laugh. Man, I didn't appreciate it as much as I do now. I've always loved it. But post-pandemic, I appreciate it more than ever before. And so I'm getting back on the road. I'm excited to be doing shows again. I'm getting ready. I've got my show and I'm preparing things. It'll be a little bit of what's happened, a little bit of nothing, which is great. I'll be telling jokes about, I don't know, 16th century England, you know? I'll be glad
Topical stuff.
Yeah, I'll be glad to take a break from politics. That's what I miss about stand-up as well, you know? I used to do shows where like, I would have like people who would be like, I'm Republican. People would even say, I don't like your politics, but I like your comedy. And I was like, well, come to my comedy then. Come to the show.
Good enough for me, right?
Hey man, we're human beings at the end of the day. We're gonna have to live in the same world. So if we can't find spaces and places where we can interact with each other, then we're doomed.
Yeah, and you've also got the film coming up, Born a Crime, which I was looking back, that book, sitting on the New York Times bestseller list, literally for years. You never could have imagined, could you, when you said, I'm just gonna sit down and tell my story, here it is, that it became this phenomenon?
No. I told a story and I shared an experience. I shared a story of a mother and her son, and I shared a story of a country coming out of one of the craziest periods in human history, which was apartheid, and trying to establish itself as a democracy. I honestly did not think in any way, shape or form this would become what it is today. You know, I didn't think people would be still reading the book years later. It would still be on the New York Times bestsellers list. You know, it would be the #1 Audible book of all time. I didn't think that. I didn't think kids would be learning it in school.
And now your mother must be pleased that Lupita's playing her.
What's interesting, so my mom doesn't care for celebrity at all. She doesn't keep up with it. She doesn't know anything about it at all. She was just happy when she saw the picture. My mom doesn't know who Lupita is. But she was just like, because my mom hears about things from people in the street, which is hilarious for me. So someone will come up to her in the street and be like, wow, you're going to be in a movie. And my mom's like, what? Why? In a movie? Where? Where am I in a movie? And then she'll phone me and be like, you put me in a movie. And I'm like, no, you're not going to be in the movie. I'm making a movie about our book and our life. And she's like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, someone's going to be acting you. And she goes, who? And I go like, oh, Lupita Nyong'o. And she's like, who's that? I'm like, okay, I'm going to send you a picture, and this is her. And I sent her, and she's like, oh, okay, no, I'm very happy. I'm happy that it's an African woman because I'm an African woman. And I was like, did you think I was going to ask Julia Roberts to play you? Like, what? Where does this come from? But my mom is just like, man, she's just simple and living her life.
That's awesome. That is incredible. But what about for you personally, to walk into the building with a billboard in New York City on the side, given where you've come from, everybody's read the story in your book, do you ever stop yourself and go, wow, I can't believe how this has turned out?
Here's the truth of it. The truth is, it's a gift and a curse. Everything in life, I think, has its gifts and its curses. On the one hand, obviously, coming from a life where sometimes in my family, we didn't know if we would have food on a day, to live the life I'm living today, I'm like, man, I can't believe this is insane. You know, I can order a mains and a starter if I want. That's one of the biggest things where I go, I've made it. I'm not even lying. I look at the menu and I go, I have both. And I really still go, man, I'm blessed. I'm really blessed. And then there are times when I see a billboard or I see a poster and I'm like, that's me. That's insane. That is me. I can't believe how far I've come, and I'm happy because I've brought my family with me, and I've brought my friends and my community, and I've been able to help people because of that. That's a gift. The curse is the fact that you have a billboard. You know what I mean? Like, people take this for granted. If I'm in let's say I'm in like I'm in a line somewhere and something goes wrong, someone spills something on me, someone kicks me, whatever, I can't just be like, bah! You've just got to breathe, because if you're not careful, someone's going to take a video and be like, Trevor losing his cool, but we should all be allowed to lose our cool, Willie.
Yes.
But I because if I'm not careful, then the thing, so it comes with its curses.
Yes.
You know, because I think you lose a little bit of the way you would live if you weren't like surveilled.
Of course.
You know? Like, you get to the point now when you eat, you're like, is someone taking a picture of this moment? This is how I eat. Small bites, nothing too big. This is how I eat. Because you know the one time you're like, that's the picture. They go, you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's one of those things.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes.
With Xfinity X5.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes.
With Xfinity X5. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
We were talking about George Floyd and how you handled that situation. You were out on hiatus when he was murdered,
right,
2 Mays ago. What were those couple of weeks or those days like for you as it sort of stewed in your mind and you figured out how to handle it?
When George Floyd was murdered, and when we started to witness America in one of the most tumultuous periods we've ever seen, I was actually grateful for the fact that I wasn't on air, because I now didn't have to react to what was happening, but I could observe. I could listen to people. I could see what was happening. The biggest emotion I had was sadness. You know, I see a lot of people now who try and create a martyr out of George Floyd, and they go like, man, what George Floyd did and what. No, George Floyd did nothing. What was done to him? You know, he didn't choose to be a martyr, nor did he want to be, nor should he have been. And so when I was experiencing this, as many other people were, you're asking so many questions about life. Why is it so hard for us to have honest conversations about policing in America? You know, why is it hard for us to connect as human beings in and around a life that was lost? You know, why does it have to feel like acknowledging the lives of those that were lost means you have to diminish those of police officers? Why is all of this happening? Why are people failing to see the humanity in others? You know, and so in that period, that was the one thing that I kept on thinking was, do you understand what level a community has to get to the point where they're marching in the streets and protest? Do you understand what level people have to get to be there? And so for myself, I felt like I could not only observe, but then process, and then try to articulate what I could see was happening in the world, just by listening and observing the people that were going through it the most.
I've got to ask you about your collection of hoodies. Every night, go in there, there's some different color or rainbow, whatever it is. How many hoodies do you have?
Everyone asks me this and I'm afraid to count, because I think what happened is, so first, to understand the hoodies, you have to understand life. I'm at home. I don't know when I'm going back out into the world. Hoodies are what I wear at home.
Sure.
I love hoodies.
Yeah.
This is just my life, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be making a show from home. It's like, I'm not gonna wear a suit, I'm at home.
Right.
I don't wanna feel like I'm at home.
Right.
We're all in sweatpants on our Zooms, etc., etc. That's why I dressed the way that I did. Then, I was like, man, I'm running out of hoodies, because I thought it was gonna be 21 days.
Right.
So I had to buy a few more hoodies, and then I had to get a few more hoodies, and then I had to get the next thing I know, there's just hoodies. There's just hoodies everywhere, Willie. There's hoodies in every nook and cranny of my cupboard. There's just hoodies everywhere.
Just showing up.
Everywhere. But in many ways, the hoodie has become, you know, the uniform that I don for this period of time. It's become, you know, It's become my little safety blanket. It's become my thing where I get into a mindset. I go, okay, it's time now. Go and do this thing. You put it on, and it's how I've created a sense of normalcy in a world that is completely abnormal right now. And so that's really all it is me going, okay, how do I get to, you know, just step into the zone? What's that moment where I go, okay, I'm doing this now? And that's what that's become. It's become my ritual. It's become my you know, non-spoken conversation with the audience. We're still in hoodie land right now as people. And I can't wait for the day when we're not.
Well, that's coming pretty soon, but your audience might be disappointed if you come out in a suit now. They want to see those hoodies.
Maybe, you never know. Maybe I'll do hoodies on Tuesdays and suits on Wednesdays. That's what I mean about, I'm not going back, I'm only going forward.
There you go, Hoodie Tuesdays.
You never know.
Thanks, man.
Hey, today all day, if you can't live without coffee, trust us, you're not alone. But up next on Saucy, Anthony Contrino is sharing his favorite ways to use espresso with 4 recipes that will get you buzzing, including a show-stopping tiramisu and an espresso martini with a twist.
Italians love their coffee, and I am no exception. Whenever I'm in Italy, my first stop every day is to a coffee bar. In the mornings, it's for a cappuccino, and then later on in the day, a shakerato. And of course, I love coffee-flavored desserts. First, I'm going to show you how to make the perfect pot of espresso using a mocha pot. Then we'll shake up my favorite coffee beverage, a shakerato. For dessert, an Italian's favorite pick-me-up, tiramisu. And then a delicious cocktail that you can't live without, an espresso martini. So if you love coffee as much as I do, come along and let's get buzzed. A mocha pot is a stovetop coffee maker that you will find in pretty much every Italian household. And it's quite easy to use. This comes in this hourglass shape, and all you need is some espresso and some hot water, which I already have in the bottom half of my pot. Then you want to take your coffee filter, and I'm using coffee that's ground for espresso. There are different types of grinds out there, so make sure it says espresso grind, and then slide it right into the bottom half of your mocha pot. All that's left to do is screw on the top half. You want to get a tight seal to trap the steam in. Once you put it on the heat, the water is going to boil and the pressure is going to push it through those grinds into the upper cavity. Okay, I'm going to put this on medium heat. That's all there is to it. This is going to take about 8 minutes, so I think I'm going to start making some lunch. Nothing beats a good sandwich for lunch, and today I'm going to be making one of my favorites, a mortadella and provolone panino. It's sort of like a bougie bologna and cheese sandwich. Now, this sandwich is delicious because of 2 components, and one of those is a garlic butter. This garlic butter is quite simple to make. 4 tablespoons of softened butter. You know me, I always need to use a bougie butter. $1 for every time I say the word bougie today. And then garlic, but 2 ways. First, just a little bit of fresh garlic. Fresh garlic is so pungent and just kind of hits you right away with that garlicky flavor. But then I also like to add just a pinch of garlic powder. It's a little bit more well-rounded and it hits you a little after the fact. So that garlic flavor is there with every bite. Just kind of stir it and mash it all together. Set this aside now that it's nice and well combined. Next, the other thing that really adds a little extra something special to this panino is an artichoke spread. It adds this creaminess, this freshness to the sandwich that I think you're really gonna enjoy. It all starts with just a can of artichoke hearts. I've drained it, and now I'm going to rip off the leaves. I just want the creamy heart for this recipe. And last one, right into our mini chopper. Now just for the last few ingredients. Instead of salt, I'm using pecorino. It's gonna melt into our sandwich and it's also going to season it. It's nice and salty, and if you haven't heard me say it 100 times, it's one of my favorite cheeses. So a tablespoon of that, and then 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And last but not least, just a couple of cracks of black pepper. Put on your lid, give it a couple of pulses. We're just looking for a nice spreadable consistency. This looks great and it smells delicious. Now all that's left to do is to put everything all together. So I'm using some sliced bread. This is the kind of bread that my grandmother used to have for us growing up. You could find it in most bakeries, just a good boule, Italian boule. So first we take our garlic butter and spread a nice thin layer onto one side of the bread. Make sure you get every crevice, every nook and cranny of this bread. And same thing. Now, flip one of the pieces upside down so that the butter is on the bottom. When we put this in, the butter will be on the outsides of the sandwich, and it's kind of gonna be like inside out garlic bread. Up next, our artichoke tapenade. Just enough to cover our bread. Tastes better on the sandwich than it does on the board, I'll tell you that much. Okay, next up, mortadella. Mortadella is one of my favorite cold cuts, as we would say here. It's fatty, it's so flavorful. This one has gorgeous specks of pistachio in it. And it's just so delicious. I like to pile it on. Sandwich is all about the fillings. I think I'll do one more piece just because why not, right? And then some provolone. This cheese will melt nicely and it's just gonna provide a nice, sharp flavor to the sandwich. Cover it up, butter side on top, and it's ready for our panini press. You can hear that sizzling already. We're gonna cook this low and slow, about 3 to 5 minutes until it's nice and golden brown. I can hear the butter kind of sizzling. Can you hear it? I think it's done. Oh, yes, it is. Carefully slide it to the board. Look at the cheese. Oh, crispy where it hit the griddle. Now that this panino is ready, all that's missing is a perfect beverage to serve alongside it. I'm going to show you how to make my favorite coffee beverage, a shakerato. It is not very popular here, but I think you'll love it. I usually drink coffee with a lot of milk or creamer in it, and this has none of that, but it doesn't need it. It's so delicious. I'm gonna take a shaker, I'm gonna fill it generously with ice. No need for bougie ice here. Then our demerara sugar. It's an unrefined sugar and it's relatively coarse. Then our freshly brewed espresso. 2 shots right on top. And then cover it up. I like to cheat because I'm nervous. Don't want to be wearing it. Wrap it in a towel and now just shake, shake, shake vigorously. At least 20 to 30 seconds until you feel like you're gonna die. Don't give up. Okay, my arms hurt. See? Saved myself from wearing that. While you might not need bougie ice, this drink calls for a bougie glass. And shake it out. The sugar creates this foam. Keep going. We want all that coffee and all of this beautiful, slightly sweet foam. And that's all there is to it. I can't wait to dig in. This drink is so simple, but so perfect. It's just a marriage made in heaven. Can't get enough of it. Now this truly is the perfect lunch.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes. This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day.
Let's change the world.
Love it!
Tiramisu is the quintessential coffee-flavored Italian dessert, and it's the perfect balance of coffee-soaked ladyfinger biscuits, savoiardi, and the delicious, decadent mascarpone cream. The first thing we need to do is work on our coffee soak. I reserved the rest of the coffee from this afternoon's mocha pot, and I brewed another one. We need 2 cups of our espresso. So a 1/4 cup of sugar is going to go into this, along with a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, just for a little extra flavor. That's all that we need for our soak. Whisk it up to dissolve all that sugar. Perfect. We'll let this cool now while we work on the remaining components of our tiramisu. Now I'm going to make the mascarpone cream. This is my favorite part of a tiramisu. It is so tasty. I honestly could sit there with a spoon and just eat the cream as is, but I'm gonna be nice enough and show you how to make the tiramisu from start to finish. We need eggs, both the yolks and some of the whites. I need 4 of the whites and 6 yolks. Super important that you don't get any yolk or fat into your whites, or they're not going to whip up later. First, we're gonna start with our egg yolks. And I'm making what's called in the French pastry kitchen a pâte à bombe, which is simply egg yolks, some sugar, and flavoring. My flavoring of choice for this is a dry marsala wine. Not sweet. We have enough sweetness going on with all the sugar that we're adding and our savoiardi biscuits. Going to add 2 tablespoons of this. Then some sugar. We'll add a 1/4 cup to this. Some salt. 1/2 teaspoon of that. And we'll throw a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla in as well. When baking, I like to add like flavors to separate components to kind of tie them all together. Now, grab a whisk. Give this a quick initial stir just to combine everything. And then I set up a double boiler situation where I have 1 inch of simmering, barely simmering water, and we're going to place this on top and whisk away to slowly begin to thicken this mixture, cook the eggs the slightest bit, and to dissolve the sugar. Carefully nestle this right on top. The bottom of your bowl should not be touching the water. And then just whisk away until it begins to thicken. It will lighten in color. You can see the texture starting to change already. It's thickening slightly. It's a beautiful, silky texture. You can really smell that masala coming out of this. You can see how much this is lightened in just a couple of minutes. I don't feel any granules of sugar, which means that it's ready to go. You want to transfer this straight to a stand mixer. I have it fitted with the whisk attachment. And now over medium high. Let it go until it cools down. It will be cool to the touch, and this will thicken up even more. Perfect. It's no longer warm. It's pretty much room temp. And you can see how it's thickened and we're getting these beautiful ribbons. Thank goodness for this machine, because I can't even imagine how hard it would be to do this by hand. Up next, one of our star ingredients, mascarpone cheese. It's basically the Italian version of cream cheese. It's the best way to describe it. And I'm using a full 16-ounce container. And just add that right into our yolk mixture. Get that all in there. Okay. Put that back on. And you want to mix this just until it's combined. If you over whip it, you can break this batter. This looks delicious already. Set this aside. And onto our whites. So we have our 4 reserved egg whites, and to that, a final 1/4 cup of sugar. Add that in. Start with a clean, fresh whisk attachment. Once you see it starting to form ribbons just like this, you can bump it up a notch. That's perfect. We're not looking for super stiff peaks here, just soft to medium peaks. We're nearly there. All that's left to do is to combine our 2 egg mixtures, and we have our mascarpone cream all ready for assembly. Add about 1/3 of your whites and gently fold/stir it in. This is to soften the yolk mixture to make it easier to fold in the remaining whites. These egg whites are going to lighten the overall mascarpone cream and just give it this beautiful, airy, moussey consistency. Be very gentle, folding it over so that you don't deflate those egg whites. This looks great. Now that we have our 2 main components, our coffee soak and our mascarpone cream ready to go, I'm gonna do a little tidying up to make some room for the fun part, the assembly. Grab yourself a casserole dish. I'm using a 7x11, but a 9x13 will work for this recipe. You'll just need a few extra lady fingers, but you'll have plenty of coffee and plenty of cream. Grab your savoiardi or lady fingers. They're super crispy and feel hard, but they are made for things like this. They're going to just absorb that coffee instantly and get nice and soft and give us the best mouthfeel when we bite into our tiramisu. The trick is to be quick. If you leave it in the coffee too long, it's gonna absorb too much of it and disintegrate and lose its wonderful texture. So 1 at a time, boom, it's all it needs. And then start lining your casserole dish. The first ones have already begun to soften, where I can kind of squish them down. Let's see if I can add 1 more savoiardi. Perfetto. Now that our bottom layer of cookies are in, it's time for the layer of mascarpone cream. Scoop half of this cream right on top. That looks about right. Then with your offset spatula, gently caress it over our cookies, evenly spreading it from corner to corner. Okay, that looks great. Now for another layer of our savoiardi. At this point, you don't have to, but I just can't help myself. I'm gonna just put a little zigzag pattern on top just to make it the extra littlest bit prettier. Gorgeous.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
having a Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes.
With Xfinity X5.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Let's get this bad boy unwrapped. You can see the cream has kind of set. All it's missing is just a little bit of a garnish, some cocoa powder. You want to be nice and delicate, gently tapping your strainer to get just wisps of this gorgeous cocoa powder. And finally, it's time to dig in. I think I want this corner piece. Glides right in there. Those lady fingers have softened beautifully. Can you see those layers? The lady fingers have truly absorbed all of that coffee, and there's very little of the actual cookie left. It's super soft, and those gorgeous layers of cream. I can't wait to take a bite. This is definitely the perfect pick-me-up and one of my favorite ways to enjoy coffee. Ooh, and it looks like I have a little bit of espresso left. Don't worry, I have another sweet trick up my sleeve.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes.
With Xfinity X5.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
having a
Make the most of your day with
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Savannah and Hoda bring you what you must know. The biggest moments of the morning.
One Republic!
Exclusive interviews.
Why did it work for you?
You're right. I am more talented than the rest.
And important headlines.
Major medical news this morning.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule. Streaming every day on Today All Day.
I'm not much of a drinker, but when a cocktail tastes like dessert, I can definitely get down with it. The first espresso martini is credited to a British bartender who first served it in the 1980s. But unlike most nightcaps, this one packs a punch and will keep you up at night and keep that party going. So take it easy. People love this drink because it's so easy to make. The classic version has 3 ingredients, but I like to add a little something special to mine. Start with a cocktail shaker, of course. Something to measure everything in. A strainer. And some booze. I'm using vodka and coffee liqueur in this. The first step is to load your cocktail shaker with some ice. Then I took the leftover espresso that I had, threw it in the fridge to get it nice and cold, and I'm going to add 2 ounces straight into our cocktail shaker. Up next is our vodka, 1.5 ounces of that. Right on in. Then for a little extra punch and additional coffee flavor, some coffee liqueur, just 1/2 ounce. Then for my little extra ingredient, sweetened condensed milk. It's a little unconventional, but it adds a little sweetness and just a little more creaminess. And it's a little reminiscent of like a Vietnamese iced coffee. 1 tablespoon of that right on top. Then just like our shakerado, we want to shake this vigorously. Get all those ingredients well combined. At least 15 seconds. Okay, our shaker is super frosty. And if you thought my shakerado glass was bougie, you ain't seen nothing yet. Look at that bad boy. Grab your strainer. Look how delicious, how creamy. Get every last bit of that. Now, if I didn't already have a decadent dessert waiting for me, what I would do is make an espresso martini affogato. First, I would shake up an espresso martini, just like this one. Then I would fill a glass with 2 scoops, 3 if I really feel like treating myself, of premium vanilla ice cream. Pour that delicious martini right on top and enjoy. But for now, this will definitely do the trick. Cheers. You can never have too much coffee.
It wouldn't be game show week without an appearance by the one and the only, she's a national treasure, Jane Lynch, the Emmy-winning host of a Hollywood Game Night.
Oh, thank you, Season 6 of the star-studded show premieres this week with a whole new group of celebrities facing off in hilarious party games.
All right, so today we invited some celebrity friends of our own. First up is Jocko Sims, star of the new NBC medical drama, New Amsterdam, back this fall. It's a big hit for season 2.
And Michael Uwaye is starring in the brand new legal drama Bluff City Law, premiering this fall on NBC.
Yes, thank y'all for being here. Okay,
fantastic. So this is what's going to happen. You girls are going to drive. So you're going to start first, Karen. Sit down.
Oh wait, yeah, we have to also introduce our boss. I'm sorry. fan.
This is Karen, everybody.
Right? It's time to meet our Plaza fans competing in some Hollywood game night fun. On my team, along with Jocko, is Ginger Hennings from North Carolina.
Ginger.
And on our team, my and Michael's team, is Karen Johnson from New Jersey, and she'll be, we're going to win. Right?
Okay, all right. So here's, you want to tell us how it's going to work?
Yeah,
Jane?
absolutely. Now I take control. Is that how this works?
Yes.
Okay, here's how it works. Our Plaza player will drive the car while their two teammates will take turns hopping in here in the passenger seat, giving clues about famous landmarks. If you guess the place right, well, if you guess say that again. Okay, if you guess the place right, you get a point. If you don't guess the place right, you can pass. 60 seconds needs to be on the clock for this team one, so we're going to start. Well, who are we starting with?
We're starting with Jenna.
Oh, see, I want to take control, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Jocko, let's do this.
You're first.
Pretend you're driving.
We're going to watch how
Okay, so we take turns being in the passenger.
Exactly.
We got to win, all right?
Yeah, you got to go to the end of the line, and then you let Jocko in. Okay, I swear to God, I've hosted this before. All right, here we go. Here you go.
And then we switch after each question, right?
Yes, yes. So if you get it, you can remember you can pass. There's 60 seconds on the clock. Right now, I am going to show you, Jenna.
Okay, but you can't. Where Ginger can't.
Well, watch how I do this. I'm a professional. I know how to do this. Kind of relax. 60 seconds on the clock, please, and go.
Where are we going? Okay, it's in Paris. It's a place that's the most landmark tower.
Yes, that's right. Come on in here.
Where are we going?
All right, cool. Jenna lived in this place for a little while.
Texas, the White House.
Yes. There you go, the White House is correct.
Where are we going? Okay, we are going to, this is a place in Italy. It's slanted.
The Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Oh, very nice. Yes, it is. Where are we going, Jocko?
Let's see, to a bar. This represents our freedom here in New York.
Freedom Tower.
Another one that's more like a lady.
Statue of Liberty.
There you go.
Good. Nice. Good.
Where are we going? Okay, this is in San Fran. It is a red. Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes, go ahead, girl.
Go ahead.
All right, Jocko, where are we going?
What's the next one? Jocko.
All right, cool. This is the place where you have the president's faces.
Mount Rushmore.
Yes. Atta girl.
Where
Wonderful.
are we going? Okay, this is a big. I can't say the words.
No, yeah,
this is a big place. It's in a large
Grand
country.
Canyon?
No, it's in a country in Asia.
Oh, that's all right.
That was hard.
It was the Great Wall of China.
That was so hard.
That was hard.
China or
really well. How many did they get?
How many did we get?
How many? 6. Fantastic.
Yes. All right, come on, Ginger. We killed it. We killed it. Ginger, come on over here.
No pressure.
All right, y'all come.
All right, so now we've got Trisha.
No pressure, Karen. You got this.
And Michael, right?
I start first.
So Trisha's going to be blindfolded, right?
So, hey, listen, so you remember where you going each time, okay? Yeah. Are we ready? 60 seconds on the clock, please, and go ahead, Trisha.
Where we going? It's in New York. It is one of the tallest.
Empire State?
Yes, got a girl.
Good job.
Where we going?
We are going, it's like a triangle.
Pyramids. Where we going? Egypt?
Yeah, we're going to let you have that.
The pyramids, yeah. Where we going?
We're here in the building right now. This is where they light the Christmas tree.
That is correct.
Tall, that's hard. Tall figures, faces, mysterious.
That's a tough one.
Pass. Yeah, I would pass.
That's a tough
Let's go.
That's a tough one. Okay. This is a really big. It's in the middle of the country. You can take a mule ride down into it. You can camp into it.
Yes.
There you go.
Where we going?
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And we're going to pass again?
Yes, we are.
We're going to pass.
Where we going? Where we going?
Pass.
Where we're going to go? Here.
Where we going? Where we going?
Stars, LA.
Walk of Fame?
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Where we going?
This is Greek.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. How many?
It's Greek.
Put that
5.
We got 6.
Coliseum.
So what did they get? 5. And you got 6. You are the winner.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
In a mere 30 minutes.
That's good.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today Food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Jane, hey, how are ya?
Really good. How are you? Thank you for having me this morning.
Oh, it feels so good to see your face, even virtually. What's been going on? Tell me how this quarantine has been for you.
Well, I'm a bit of a loner to begin with, so I love having the excuse to stay in without feeling, badly about it, like I'm antisocial. But, it's I think people are getting bored, and the virus isn't over yet, and I'm in that camp as well. I would love to go back to work, but it's just this continues. But I think for a lot of people, it's reached the limit, and I feel so badly for all of us. This is a tough time, and it's also been really a great time because we have kind of bonded together, and even there's a lot of division too. But when we do bond together, it just fills my heart with joy.
No, it sure does. And Jane, we've been thinking about you because you are known, of course, from that great show Glee, and your co-star Naya Rivera lost her life tragically, and she was such a talent. What do you remember about her?
Well, I think that one of the things that kind of got lost when we were doing the show is what a force she was, because there were so many talented people, but she was one of those people. She wasn't in every scene, but when she was, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. She just blew everybody away. I had 3-page monologues. So did she. It took me a week to get mine. She would do them right off the bat, and they would be changing them, and she had no problem with it. And she was a real... My niece Megan was very close with Naya, and Megan always said that with Naya, you felt like somebody had your back. Mm-hmm. She was somebody who wasn't going to let anybody mess with you. She was a great advocate, and loved the fact that she and Heather Morris had the lesbian relationship on the show, and how much that meant to so many young people. So yeah, she was a force of nature, and it's just a gut-wrenching and heartbreaking that she's gone.
Well, we are with you, and we know she will be so missed. Since the last couple months, we haven't gotten to see you, and it feels like it's been 10 years, like a long time. We thought we might catch up with you, okay? So we're going to play some questions, see what you've been doing during the quarantine. First up, what's the one thing you thought, okay, if I had more time, I'm going to totally do this, but then you didn't do it?
Read a book. I really thought that I would read a book. I've gotten so, and this is because of Twitter, and I don't mean to blame something other than myself, but it's because of Twitter. My attention span is shot.
Oh.
I only like those adrenaline punches that you get from Twitter. So I actually did, in the beginning, I did read an actual book, a paperback book, an autobiography of Aldous Huxley. And then I thought I stacked them up. You looked around this room, you would see stacks of books, and I haven't cracked the spine of any of them.
Jane, you just have to put Twitter away and open a book. I promise you it's worth it.
I hear you. I got to do it. But you know what? I'm addicted. It's a tough thing.
Okay. What's the one thing you're looking forward to when this is all over?
Oh, and I bet you are too. But like going to the theater.
Yes.
Going to a movie. Going to a lecture.
Yes.
When I see, because I do a lot of, I listen to a lot of talks on YouTube, and I just miss that so much, being in a group of people. Like I would love to go to school again. I would love to be in a class, and I love that, getting together en masse and learning something together. I really miss it. And of course, I do stage shows with the Tony Guerrero Quintet and Kate Flannery. And we had to cancel our entire season, like most performers and musicians have had to do. And so that's a drag. I would love to get back to that.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's so funny. You were sitting right in front of me at the last Broadway show that I went to, which was Moulin Rouge, which was just so fantastic.
Wasn't that stunning?
It was.
That show just, for me, it brought Broadway home to me in such a big way. It was such an impactful show.
And I can't wait for those people to get back on stage and start trotting the boards again.
I agree. Okay, so have you picked up any new habits during this time?
Yes, I have gone down the rabbit hole of UFOs.
What?
UFOs. And now, I don't know if you're aware of this. This got lost in all of the news. You know, there's so much in the news these days. But the Air Force released 3 videos of unidentified flying objects that they can't explain. And that got me going down the rabbit hole. It started with the Joe Rogan podcast, which I watch all the time now. He has such fascinating people, and he's a really smart guy. But he had 3 or 4 different shows about UFOs, and that led me to watching some documentaries, and that led to me having freaky dreams and one night I swear I was abducted. It was really
we
crazy.
are so glad they left you back on Mother Earth, though. We're glad they put you back where you belong. You know what I'm saying?
Me too. Put me right back in my body in my bed. But yeah, that's been just fascinating to me and freaking me out in a really, really interesting.
Okay, so Jane, you are an amazing game show host. We love the show Hollywood Game Night. So when we heard that you're hosting the Weakest Link reboot, which if anybody doesn't remember the show, they definitely remember the tagline, "You are the weakest link. Goodbye." Remember? I mean, we all know it. So you get to host this when it premieres this September. So exciting.
Right. So that's the wonderful Anne Robinson, who did it for a couple of decades. Started in England, and it's based on the BBC quiz show format. And then we did it here in LA on NBC, and in the USA on NBC in the early aughts, if you will. And so they're bringing it back now, and I am just honored as heck to step into those. I think she wears thigh-high leather boots.
Wow.
I think I'm really excited to be stepping into those. And we've been doing Zoom rehearsals. We're going to premiere it sometime in September. And that's been really fun. And what's great about this show...
Is that a dog?
Relax.
Who is growling?
That's Rumi, and that's because Sweetie next door is in the backyard, and that's her backyard.
I mean, this is. Oh, by the way, if anybody could have. Rumi. Rumi. No, she's on TV.
I know. He doesn't care.
Rumi.
He doesn't care.
Your mother is doing something.
Go outside.
So good. I kind of miss those moments of my children invading you, but you've got your children that do not understand what your job is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they think life just goes on, but it doesn't. I'm on TV.
Can you please tell Rumi that he is the weakest link? Goodbye, please.
You are the weakest link, Rumi. Goodbye.
Sounds like you're ready for it. Okay, now that we've talked about future projects, we want to take a trip down memory lane. See what we did there? You've been in so many things. So can we walk through some of your first roles that people may not remember? Okay,
please.
When you see this picture, tell me what pops into your head. Married with Children.
Married with Children. I said, will you walk my Winky? Was the name of the dogs. Perfect theme here. And he says, you walk your own Winky, lady. So I remember that.
Okay. Frasier.
And that's my own dress, by the way.
That's
my suit. Yeah.
Okay, this is this is Friends with Monica and Chandler. Tell us.
Right. I played a real estate agent, and they were looking for. You remember the character who talked like this? Yes. I forget what her name is, but she used to be in love with Chandler. She was in it as well. But it was one of the last episodes of Friends.
Okay, next one.
Very happy to be on it.
Yeah, I know, Friends. I mean, who doesn't love that show? I think this is Frasier, right?
Oh, is that Frasier? Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh yeah, it was a Thanksgiving dinner, and I think I was his sister, maybe.
You were Frasier's sister?
I barely remember that.
I know. I love that. Okay, finally, Party of Five. We've got to see this because this was one of my favorite shows.
I was delivering terrible news to them about their baby brother. And I remember that Matthew Fox said to me, if this were your child, would you do the surgery? And I said, if it were my child, I would.
Oh, and so did they do this? Did they do the surgery?
Yes, I did the surgery. It was successful. The child survived.
Okay, well, that's really good to know. Okay, I guess we have time for one more, too. Let's see it.
Oh, great. I'm a doctor a lot, aren't I?
Yes.
Oh, that is King of Queens.
King of Queens, yes.
Yeah.
You remember?
I should have had my own lab coat for these things. Yes, they were trying to conceive, and I was their in vitro doctor.
I mean, really, you could maybe be a doctor at this point, right?
I probably could. I mean, I don't have any medical training, but I look pretty good in that coat, don't I?
I think it looks really good. Okay, so yesterday was one of our favorites, Oscar winner Viola Davis's 55th birthday. She celebrated by sharing an inspiring message on Instagram about owning your own story. So she posted this photo of her childhood home in St. Matthews, South Carolina, with the caption, "The house above is where the house where I was born, August 11th, 1965. It is the birthplace of my story. Today, on my 55th year of life, I own it. All of it." So some people were a little confused whether she bought the house or not. She doesn't own the house. She was talking about owning her own story. But first of all, I love Viola. Jane, don't you?
I do. She's a wonderful actress and a wonderful advocate as well. Yeah, she's a true force of nature.
I think owning your story is such an important thing too. When you feel like all of you, even the things that maybe as a little girl you might have been embarrassed about are part of who makes you who you are. Was there a moment when you?
I don't know that I had that I probably in small ways, but I think what's so profound about what she posted yesterday, that August 11th is also the day that Kamala Harris was announced as Joe Biden's VP choice, and the first woman, well, not the first woman to be announced, but first black woman, first Asian woman, and for that to be her birthday, and for her to have that owning of her story and that realization of embracing all of who she is in this world, I think is pretty fortuitous that it happened on that day. And I'm sure that you share this with me, and many people out there this morning, that I was almost shocked at I knew I'd be excited, but I was really deeply moved when he announced Kamala as his choice, and I think it just really filled me with joy. And everybody I talked to, I would see people out on the street where I take my walk, and I see almost the same people every day, and they go, "It's Kamala, it's Kamala," and everybody was, it's just nice to be excited about something.
And you know what? To hear I have two little girls, and so politics aside, when they heard that a woman could be, Mila ran up and said, "Daddy, a woman could be the vice president," and that filled me with joy as her mother.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in 30.
We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes.
With Xfinity X5. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5.
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
We are back with Emmy-winning actress and host Jane Lynch, who's hanging out with me while Hoda enjoys some time off. And so, Jane, we cannot let the queen of game night go without playing a game. So are you up for a game we're calling the Jane game?
I love the name of it. I'm up for it, yes.
Okay, okay, so this is how it's going to work. We're going to give you a quote, and you have to choose which famous Jane said it. Are you ready?
Yeah, God, I hope I'm up on my Janes.
Okay, I think you can do it. Put a minute on the clock. I'm just kidding. I felt like I should say that as a host. Okay, here's the first quote. It's never too late to start over. Never too late to be happy. Did Jane Fonda say that or Jane Pauley?
Jane Fonda.
Correct. Okay. Next one. We are all fools in love. Did Jane Austen say that or Jane the Virgin? I know you haven't read recently.
I have read some Jane Austen, not recently, and that is Jane Austen.
Correct. You're killing it. Okay, here's another one. Sometimes I sing too beautifully. Did Jane Seymour say that? Or Jane Krakowski as Jenna Mulroney in 30 Rock?
Jane Krakowski.
Correct. Oh my gosh. Did you know that for sure?
I knew that for sure. I've never heard it, but it sounds so much like her character.
Okay, here's another one. There is no happiness like that of being loved by your fellow creatures. Oh, I know who said this, I bet. Did Jane Eyre or Jane Goodall say that?
Jane Goodall.
I thought so too.
It's not?
No, Jane Eyre said that.
Oh my God, I was so pompously sure.
Me too.
That was a trick one.
That was. Our producers are smart. Okay, here's another one. You think this is hard? I'm passing a gallstone as we speak. That's hard. Did Jane Jetson say that or Jane Lynch in Glee?
Lynch.
Jane Lynch. I was going to say. Okay, you know what you get for winning this game? We're not going to leave you empty-handed. We're going to get a Hoda and Jenna coffee mug sent straight to your house, and if you want, you can mark out the Hoda and write Jane and Jenna.
Well, you know I will.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. Okay, we have to ask you about something that's left a bad taste in our mouths, and that is a new study of 3,000 Americans that have found that we are much more aware of our own bad breath, thanks to wearing masks. Mm-hmm. So I wonder, now, by the way, this was done by a toothpaste company, this particular study. So take it for what it is. But now, have you found this?
Yeah, I have absolutely found this. And the worst is, say you go into a store, you put on the mask, and whew, that's bad. Then you take it off and you go to the next place and you put it on again, and you re-experience that breath, and it's even a little more stale now that it's penetrated the fibers. See? My breath. My very own breath.
I know. You know what, Jane? We need to come up with a word for this, because I feel like we'd be in the Urban Dictionary. You know how if you create those new words, it's like
absolutely.
We need to come mask breath or something. But
mask breath. We've got to be a little more clever than that.
I agree.
Unfortunately, I've only had one cup of coffee. Yeah. I come up with something.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. But thank you, Jane, for everything. I had so much fun hanging with you today. Please come back soon, and good luck on all of your projects.
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like, really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like, really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
She is a marvelous actress, a marvelous singer, a marvelous game show host, and she is making her marvelous return in the mega hit show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Of course, we are talking about the one, the only, the incredible Jane Lynch, who is reprising her Emmy-winning role as comic Sophie Lennon, one of the most famous comedians back in the 50s. And here's a sneak peek of the highly anticipated new season.
Welcome to the library. Books feed me.
Well, looks like you ate all of them.
Beg your pardon?
I just said impressive.
Hi, Jane. Hi. Okay, we're chomping at the bit for this third season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yes, I am too.
Are you excited about it?
Yeah, you know, we go to all the table reads, so it's almost like, because every script is complete when you do the table read. Usually, you know, they have to do rewrites and whatnot. So the table read is like getting a sneak preview of everything that's happening, and it's
Do you love
just the
playing
best.
her?
I
She is
adore
so much
it.
fun. What do you
Just
love about her?
Well, I love that aspect of the character. I love how smug and erudite she is, and deep down inside, not even deep down, right on the surface, she is riddled with self-doubt, and she's insecure. And now there you see I am as Sophie. I think she's more comfortable as Sophie from Queens.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's more comfortable in that skin, for sure.
So when you got this role, and people love this show, do people like come up to you? I mean, I was just thinking, like, I cannot wait for this season to come out.
This show is really one of those things that people, they can't wait for it, and everybody appreciates from top to bottom, soup to nuts. It's the most gorgeous show you've ever seen. The costumes, and oh my God, Donna Kurkowska is our wardrobe designer, and she does as much work on the characters as we do, maybe more.
Yeah.
They're just amazing. Even the background artists are fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, look at the set.
set.
It's gorgeous.
Isn't this amazing? Look at that.
We had Rachel Brosnahan on a couple of days ago, and she was talking about something interesting. She said, her character is kind of going out on the road.
Yeah.
And she said she was so shocked. She said she's not a mom herself, but she said, I was so shocked at the mom shaming that she was actually getting on the street from regular people walking up to her going, or even interviewers saying, do you think that your character is a terrible mother? She was like, what do you make of that?
Well, I think, this is I think we're so quick to shame mothers.
Yes.
For sure. We all have some idealized notion of what it means to be a mother. But here what we have are two people who got married really, really young.
Yeah.
We have two devoted parents, and both of them are finding their own way in the world. And they're supporting each other as much as they can. And she's got this dream, and she's a great husband raising the kids right now, and of course the grandparents. And this is back in the day when the grandparents and were very much a part of your life. And
living right by.
No, well, it happens today still, but I mean the family unit was definitely a lot stronger back then than maybe it is now.
We teased it, so we have to ask.
Yeah.
What are you doing for the holidays?
Well, I go on tour with my album, and we have a Christmas album called A Swinging Little Christmas, and it's a big band album. I do it with Kate Flannery, and we go all over with our quintet, go all over the country. So we're doing that, and then my family had traditions of McDonald's on Christmas Eve.
For real?
For real, McDonald's, because the only McDonald's was like 3 miles away. And McDonald's on Christmas Eve.
Wait, where are you from?
I'm from Chicago, the South Side.
Okay.
And then my dad would read The Night Before Christmas to us, and then he'd pretend to throw sleep dust in our eyes like that, and we'd go pretend to fall asleep. And we'd, of course, get up at the crack of the dawn and open presents and have ham and eggs.
Did you leave cookies for Santa?
We sure did. Oh, always. And a beer, a Ham's beer. Yeah, because my dad liked hams.
Did your dad teach you? I mean, when you look at somebody as talented as you are, did you have parents that helped you learn this ability?
My father was hilarious in a very Catskills way. In fact, I do him a little bit. He'll do a terrible corny line and then go. Waiting for your laugh.
So it was like a dad joke before dad joke was even a word.
He's the original dad joke guy.
The soothing rhythm of nature. The certainty of growing things.
It's a kind of faithfulness that whatever life does, and I think over the last year of the pandemic, this has been very powerful, that however difficult things are, there is a surety that things will grow, and they will flower, and they will die, and that's fine. That's okay. That's part of the rhythm.
Life endures. It happens.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly grounding at a moment when most of us feel like so much is out of control.
It's connecting you with things that feel like they matter. You don't even have to explain why they matter, because they just do, and they also are real. You can't fake it.
Monty Don has been Britain's most famous gardener for decades, hosting BBC Gardener's World for the last 2 from his home at Longmeadow near the Welsh border.
Hello, welcome to Gardener's World.
The show, now available in America, seeing its highest viewership in 10 years. It's exactly the escape we all needed.
That pace of life, which is changing all the time, but at its pace, not yours, not the pace of modern life, and the deep rhythm of it that connects the seasons, is spiritually very rewarding, as well as fun. It's nice, it's good, you know, it's easy, it's not a complicated thing.
For Monty, his career in gardening sprung from a deep depression after closing his jewelry business with his wife, Sarah.
Working in a garden outside has results that very often pharmaceutical efforts don't. And I think that everybody can improve their well-being, if you like, if not their mental illness. So you can improve your mental health by working in a garden. And my goodness, we all need that.
Monty is joined every Friday night in prime time by his 2 popular co-stars. There's Nellie and Patty. Meanwhile, stuck at home, we had all become gardeners.
So these are some of my seedlings. So I think these are kaleettes maybe, or this is kale. Didn't label them, rookie mistake. That's supposed to be salad. This is supposed to be lettuce.
With varying degrees of experience and success.
Come on. Monty just pops these out.
And while it's a global language, our connection with the great outdoors, Monty observes, is culturally pretty different.
And what struck me was the relationship with nature and wilderness and with gardens. You have such impressive wilderness. You know, you have the amazing mountains and deserts and lakes and rivers, you know, they're all bigger and there's just more of them and the distance. So there's a disconnect with your back garden and that. If you want to immerse yourself in nature, you can do a journey and be in as wild a state as anyone.
I go hiking, right? Yeah. I leave my house.
Yeah, you see, you talk about hiking. We go for a walk. We take the dogs for a walk. We go, you know, I go out the gate and go out across some fields. You go hiking and you know,
and we wear spandex.
Yeah,
so
I
know, the whole thing.
And that sort of, in some ways, that's wonderful. In lots of ways, it's wonderful. But it sort of makes your yards redundant.
When you were in America, biggest difference?
Well, I suppose the obvious difference is the sort of archetypal suburban American front garden with these lawns running seamlessly down to the sidewalk. And the whole British idea of a garden is somewhere that is private and hedged in, and you don't go into it unless you're invited in. Whereas in America, hey, hi, I'm here. Look at me, I'm the same as you.
It's very much, that's my MO, kind of, on a regular basis. Yeah.
Whereas we say, hello, have we been introduced?
Do you think there's going to be an American gardening renaissance?
Yes.
Kind of we're on the cusp of that.
Absolutely, and not just a renaissance, I think a genuine naissance, a birth. I think that all the great things that we love about America, the energy, the optimism, this sense of making it happen because you want it to happen, can be applied to gardening.
And optimism is central to his BBC show Big Dreams, Small Spaces, also available in the US. It's a makeover show with very British sensibilities.
People have bonkers ideas, and my favorite 2 things that you do are when people say, you know, I really want to make this model thing and put this moss in here, and you say, lovely. That sounds like a wonderful idea. And the other thing, when people fall in love with tropical plants that are entirely inappropriate for their setting, you tell them such, and 3 months later, they have planted that plant. And you go back and they've ignored everything you said.
That's absolutely right. It's I share all that, and I really. The thing about Big Dreams is obviously that it's based around ordinary people doing extraordinary things within the context of the more wacky the better.
Right.
But actually, some of the most moving ones for me have been when people have done something very modest but it's been big for them. It's not a race. It's not a competition.
And now a new generation is digging in.
A club moss. I have a club moss here.
Greetings. Take a look at this succulent.
Last year on social media, updates and tutorials, even the dawn of the plant-fluencer.
As especially in the rain, they do go over quite quickly.
And for Monty, that meant a younger, more diverse, more global fan base.
I think what's changed because, A, the whole idea of the ecosystem, of ecology, of climate change are pressing and direct and immediate. And gardens are an expression of that, inevitably.
And we care a lot about that as a
It's your
generation.
consistency, and so you should. You know,
Okay.
I mean, one of the, increasingly I see my role in life is to empower and enable your generation to do something about it, not just talk about it or avoid it. And secondly, I think that you've sort of gone sideways at it. So, for example, who would have thought 5 years ago that houseplants would be probably the biggest thing in gardening?
Right.
Nobody. And so what you've done is said, okay, we don't have a garden, let's bring it indoors. There's the internet. You now can talk to each other, you have access, you can show pictures, you can do Instagram. We had none of that. A whole tranche of the population have a very different relationship with their garden because that is their outdoors, that is their relationship to nature. It's not seen as a job or a chore or a duty. It's seen as something that can give to them as well as them do to it. And I just think that gets us back to the basic elements of humanity. It's who we are, it's what we do, and that is empowering.
And luckily, we've got Monty, Nellie, and Patty too, on both sides of the Atlantic, there to lead us.
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on and a reliable connection for all your devices, whenever and however you watch with Xfinity X5. Make the most of your day with
Today in 30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show in a mere 30 minutes.
Watch Today in 30 on your schedule, streaming every day on Today All Day. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
And food for thought, arriving in the U.S. as a refugee is certainly a difficult transition, and the pandemic has made that adjustment even more challenging.
But one nonprofit called World Relief Seattle is offering some refugees a glimmer of home in a community garden, helping them grow right here in America. Take a look.
Wow, thank you.
Welcome to Paradise Parking Plots. Once a neglected parking lot on the outskirts of Seattle, this community garden is now host to 44 plots tended by refugee families from 23 different countries.
This is a community garden for refugee and immigrant communities who wanted to grow food from their countries, and they missed seeing that at their local grocery stores.
Tamina Martelli is the program manager for World Relief Seattle, a refugee resettlement organization that built and maintains the garden. She's also no stranger to the struggles faced by the families she helps.
I came to this country from Bangladesh. I was actually underage, and I was living with this American family in a very rural part of Idaho, and I was kind of like a Tootsie Roll in a marshmallow factory. I was one of the only dark people in this entire town. To live in a place that is very, very different often takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes kind of that resilience. I have worked in refugee resettlement related things, kind of creating that type of thing for the last 25 years.
Prem Adhikari, a Bhutanese refugee, has found solace and sustenance here throughout the pandemic, growing vegetables from her homeland.
So this one
We call in our language, it is chukuruke, but I never found in grocery store in America. We eat every time freezer before, but when I start my gardening, I eat the fresh vegetables.
The pandemic did not stop the garden from hosting its Refugee Youth Summer Academy for ages K through 8. The kids learn about environmental science and work on their English skills.
We're doing some online kind of virtual learning, but we're still doing a portion at the garden, which has been a highlight for the kids to be able to get out of their apartments and to come here.
You can look at different types of vegetables, plants, flowers, and you can just learn a lot of things. For example, we can learn about bees pollinating.
So what happens when flowers become pollinated?
It turns into fruits.
That's right. High five. So smart.
The summer program also employs interns from immigrant backgrounds. 17-year-old Risa Suho, a Filipino immigrant, says she was placed in special ed classes when she first came to the U.S. because she wasn't in lockstep with her classmates.
When you're told that you're special ed because you can't keep up with other kids, you don't think like, it's the education system failing me, it's the thought that I'm failing myself. It's super important, especially for these younger children, to see someone who's kind of looks like them and can relate to their experience.
Refugees are often incredibly resilient because of the so many different things that they have had to go through. Often I will have gardeners tell me, my plants don't know there's a pandemic. Having the power to grow your own food, a virus can't take that away. And that's kind of what we're working towards, is providing solutions that are sustainable over time.
Nice. And this amazing program is not ending with the fall harvest. World Relief Seattle is piloting a new winter course for refugee gardeners, too. You can find more about the program on today.com.
It's good for the kids, too.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes.
With Xfinity X5.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh yes.
With Xfinity X5.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We were not but a few steps into Central Park's ramble when...
This guy right here. Yeah. And he's a what?
White-throated sparrow.
Until that moment, I assumed all sparrows dressed alike.
So these sparrows are part of kind of the first big wave of migrants that are going to be on their way through the area. And this is a good place to see them.
We are with Cornell University ornithologist Andrew Farnsworth, a sort of Bill Nye of birds, if you will.
Did it surprise you in the last year as COVID and the pandemic took over that people, it seemed like, went crazy for birds?
It was not a surprise. This kind of situation where people want to be a part of nature, and especially in a time when there's a lot of emotional challenge and a need to reconnect with something, anything, and the connection with birds because they are beautiful, they sing, they do cool things.
Like that robin you shrewdly observe hanging around all winter. Turns out some are true frequent flyers.
There are some that are residents here, but there are also birds that migrate to New York that spend the winter. There are birds that breed here that leave New York and disappear for the winter. So even though it looks like robin is always here all the time, there's tremendous flux in this species.
Farnsworth has traveled the world, observing, studying birds. An avian ally, it seems sometimes the birds came to him.
Yeah, there it is.
That is just a great looking bird. I'm sorry. Have you seen the warbler? I'm a little high from that.
Warblers are the epitome of spring migration.
Bird watching can be mesmerizing.
Great way to engage and also disconnect both.
I like that phrase, engage and disconnect.
Easy enough to see why so many recently flocked to this pastime, like Sheldon Goodrich.
What does it do for you to come out and watch?
It's peaceful. It's I mean, especially now in the spring, the sounds of the birds, sometimes just sitting and hearing the water, hearing the birds, watching the behavior, it's peaceful.
But for birds, the world is not as welcoming as it once was.
How are our friends, the birds, doing these days?
That's a good question. It does vary by species, but if we think about bird populations as a whole, in the last 50 years, there have been precipitous declines.
Birds are in fact the proverbial canary in the coal mine of the environment. The North American bird population is down by 3 billion since 1970.
If we're thinking about birds as indicators of our environment, what does 3 billion birds lost say about the challenges our ecosystems are facing around the planet?
Nearby, a massive barred owl has been perched for months.
I check her when I can, and most of the time she's there.
Isn't that something?
Oh, it's great. It's great.
As if to remind us that birds are a cherishable, but also perishable gift of nature, not to be taken for granted.
And I've been listening to a chorus of birds this morning. House wren. On cue. Could you hear it?
Yes.
And for people who want to get into this, there are so many sites. Cornell, for instance, has this amazing ornithology department. They have a great eBird website. You can get into it. I've seen one for the state of Minnesota. There are all kinds of them to help you take little tiny steps into this amazing avian world. It's just terrific.
I feel more peaceful just after that story.
I wonder if the birds are on Twitter.
Al, do you know the difference between a bird watcher and a birder?
No.
Bird watcher, they say, is just somebody who just observes birds. But a birder is somebody who will travel to go look at birds.
Right.
So I guess
Well,
you're
they
a
keep
birder.
lists. A lot of these folks keep lists, and they want to make sure, I haven't gotten the something sapsucker yet.
Right.
So they, take off to go find it.
them out.
Yeah.
The something sapsucker.
All right. Our local birder, Harry Smith. Thank you,
The
buddy.
last 6 months, I've seen so many bird watchers.
Bird watcher.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feed the birds when you're out there? Do you bring some crumbs? Is that allowed?
I asked Farnsworth about bird feeders, and he said it's okay. And there are a lot of places actually in Central Park where people kind of spread crumbs and stuff.
Okay. I don't know if that was allowed or not.
Thank you, Harry.
We spent a lot of time indoors lately, so why not get out and explore? Well, this morning's Influence Her is a nature lover who is sharing her passion. Rue Mapp is the creator of Outdoor Afro, a nonprofit that encourages Black Americans to embrace the great outdoors. She's already inspired thousands to do it, including Miss Oprah Winfrey herself.
If time and money were not an issue, what would you really be doing? And I opened my mouth and my life fell out. I said I'd probably start a website to help Black Americans connect with nature. And it was like the world opened up.
At 37 years old, Rue was raising 3 kids and finishing up a college degree when she started a blog called Outdoor Afro.
What is Outdoor Afro? I grew up with such an incredible connection to nature and recognized how it had improved my life. But as I continued to get out into nature experiences away from cities, I didn't see enough people who looked like me. And I certainly didn't see us represented in the pages of the glossy magazines that highlight the outdoors. So I started that blog from my kitchen table in 2009.
Today, more than a decade later, that blog has turned into a national nonprofit organization with networks in 30 states, with 40,000 people participating and growing.
We do that through a leadership team of folks that we train to connect people to nature and to really kind of help people get their nature swagger back.
Ooh, nature swagger. I like that. I have to tell you, I'm sitting here thinking about my childhood and growing up. As far as, let's say, going to national parks or some of those kinds of things, I don't remember us really doing that.
We have to really rethink nature, right? Like, nature is not only in these hallowed national parks, it's right in your own neighborhood.
Outdoor Afro brings people together for all types of activities.
How to camp, how to fish, how to kayak, those skills. But then there's also the community where you can go out and you can be surrounded by people who are learning right along with you.
Yeah. When did it resonate with you? I think this is going somewhere.
I could see the place that Outdoor Afro could step in and fill some of the gaps that I saw. We are diversity within the diversity. A friend of mine, she's like, Rue, just step out and the net will appear.
A net she has counted on since her 20s after climbing a mountain for the first time.
It is a powerful metaphor, and that's exactly what it became for me. At the moment where I was about to give up, my instructor leans over and he says, Rue, trust your feet. That's when I knew that nature was a healer and a teacher.
In 2010, Rue was part of the think tank that inspired Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign.
All you kids grow up healthy.
She continues to work with the California State Parks Commission and recently took Oprah hiking earlier this year.
It was so perfect to get out there with Oprah and to talk about the history of redwoods. Those trees tell a story of rebirth and regeneration that I feel all people can connect in and relate to.
I've done several interviews now with experts, and when I ask them how to find peace in the middle of what feels like a stormy situation in this country, one of the top experts said, you know what? Look to nature, soak up the sun, and just breathe.
I always say that you go out in nature and the trees don't know that you're Black. The birds are going to sing no matter how much money is in your bank account. The flowers are going to bloom no matter what your gender is or whether or not you're a Republican or a Democrat. It is truly an equalizer.
There's just so much going on in the country right now. How do you, with what you do, wrap your mind around all of this?
And I ask myself, what is it that I need to be doing right now? How do I show up?
Rue showed up by organizing and leading healing hikes.
It's about people getting out and really finding that healing for themselves. There's a whole range of emotion, trauma, discord that's happening, and we have to still be present for our families. We still have to take care of ourselves. And so I really want people to turn to nature to get the restoration and the healing that they need.
So true. By the way, anyone is welcome to join Outdoor Afro on their adventures.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Stay connected and stream the news you need with Xfinity X5.
Our top story is unfolding right now.
The fast speed you depend on.
We begin with breaking news right now in Florida.
And a reliable connection for all your devices.
This story matters to all of us.
Whenever and however you watch.
Our bite-sized mix of everything you love about all 4 hours of our show, but half the calories.
Oh, yes.
With Xfinity X5.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like, really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, Download the NBC News app.
On a frosty winter morning, Alice Lewick is suiting up.
You feel warm enough? Yeah. You want an extra pair of gloves?
Alice may be dressed for the sledding hill, but instead, she's headed to Hickory Hill Nature School in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania.
All right, can we hop this? Woohoo!
It's what's called a forest kindergarten, where the children are outside all day, rain or shine, even during the recent snowstorms. Stacy Gummy started the school 5 years ago.
There are days I have to imagine where it is freezing, sleet, rain, or on the other end of the spectrum, it can get really humid and hot. Do the kids complain?
No. Children are very resilient. We all know that. Everybody says it all the time. Here we really realize they're resilient, but we have to start off warm and we have to have the right gear.
Alice began last fall in virtual kindergarten. Her mom, Rebecca, has a health condition that made in-person classes too risky.
Tell me what it was like there in the beginning, trying to get her to sit in front of a computer.
She just wasn't getting the joy that I think she would have been getting in the classroom if we were able to do that. She just wants to be out in the world like so many little kids.
A friend tipped Rebecca off to Hickory Hill, and in November, Alice was one of the few to get off a long waiting list filled with parents looking for a safer alternative to in-person school, one that didn't involve sitting in front of a computer.
We had a wait list of over 40 children, and we have 12 spots per day.
Spots. Have you ever had any cases of COVID or had to shut down?
None.
None?
None. Nope, it hasn't even touched us.
Forest kindergartens are getting new attention during the pandemic, but they started in Denmark in the 1950s and are popular across Europe.
Ready? Let's show her.
See.
Look. And you can see they've gotten a lot bigger. They might be salamander. We're not positive. I have to ID it still. So this is not teacher-led. This is child-led. We ask them inquiry questions, and based on that, they follow their interests.
What did this spark come from?
And there's so many studies now that show when a child follows their interests, they retain that information much more readily.
Nature preschools and kindergartens in the U.S. tripled in the past 3 years. The increase coming as children are spending half as much time outside as their parents did.
Many kindergarten teachers are saying kindergarten is now first grade. What we learned in first grade is now learned in kindergarten. So that play is out the window, and it's tough. I think reading and writing and all of that comes very naturally to children because it's fun to learn. However, we are working on life skills. These children are going to be resilient and able to go into a school and communicate with adults wonderfully, with their peers wonderfully, and learn to critical think.
What are they doing?
So they're driving their cars.
Oh, they're driving cars, of course.
But I look at this as they are learning to communicate, work together.
Yeah.
A big component of forest schools, risk-taking.
Go backwards.
Oh,
and pull all your weight. So this is a skill that we have to teach.
And they're so fearless.
Outdoor play that's building a valuable skill set. Climbing trees, test their balance and motor skills.
We are here to just hear the sap running inside of it.
They're learning to recognize patterns in the animal tracks around the school.
A deer.
And learning to share in my favorite, the mud kitchen.
Can I have some of those ingredients?
Yeah.
Those muddy clothes, they might be the only downside to the parents we spoke to at pickup.
I saw you pull up and you've got a whole organized system. You take the muddy clothes, take those off. You must be used to this by now.
Yep, they come home completely drenched and covered in mud almost every single day. They love it.
The smile after Alice's first day of school, making it all worth it.
I texted Stacey a picture of her face the second she got in the car, and I said, I have not seen this face since March. It makes me just feel such deep gratitude for the fact that she has it back and has had it since.
My name is Herman Hayes, and I make Dilla's Delights Donuts. James Yancey was my oldest sister's son, music producer, and my little knucklehead. My son told me he was going by the name J Dilla. I don't know how he created it or why or from. You could probably find out from Questlove or Pete Rock, somebody who probably asked him that question professionally. Dilla worked with so many artists that there's too many for me to name and not leave somebody out. Erykah Badu is Common, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. Dilla's father was the leader of the Ivies, which was a local Motown group, along with my sisters being trained as an opera singer and gospel singer. We could tell at a young age that he was just inclined to love music. Wanting to hear music and wanting to play music was in the blood, you know what I mean? But he just took it to another level. Dilla's personality as a kid was a recluse. I was the one he was bugging, you know, because I had the donuts and I would bring the donuts. And with me, he would talk because he knew I was the bearer of the donuts, you know? I have always used drumsticks, even when Dilla was a baby, to turn my donuts. No idea that he would be a drum master. I think he had that sense that went through him that I can communicate and I can touch people through sounds. He was in LA living because of health problems. Common told him, "You can come stay with me in Cali." And he went out and lived with Common. I know he had kidney failure. I know he had lupus. They misdiagnosed him a few times because different effects come from lupus. They lose the hair, they have the blotches on the face. It's predominantly a woman's disease. My oldest son had visited him in California. He said, "Jay ain't doing too well." A little saddening, and I was hoping he'll come out of it. He'll be fine. He's young. I want people to know that lupus devastated my family. He made his album called Donuts, and like I say, I was shocked. I was grateful, a little stunned by it. It's kind of getting me now because I'm flashing back to February 10th, 2006, you know, and I was like, wow, you know, just blew my mind, you know. We started to honor him by doing lupus walks and raising awareness and raising money through the Alliance for Lupus Research.
Years ago, we started an event called Donuts Are Forever as a way to honor J Dilla as a producer that we really love.
People started meeting me and saying, "Oh, you're the uncle who made the donuts," and it's just like, you know, you started this. And I was like, well, no, I'm new to the hip hop scene because these are the kids who embraced him. These are the kids who eventually taught me who Dilla was.
Can I hear you make some noise for the musical legacy of J.D.? James Do It Again.
This is the old school artisan way of making donuts. This is the way Dilla's Delights makes our donuts. We raise the dough in proof boxes. We hand cut every donut that comes through here. It's a tedious overnight process. The little sleep that I get, sometimes it's an hour and a half, sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's none. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't want to be known as a quitter. I don't want to let Jay down. I don't want to let the family down. I don't know what day it is sometimes, but I know I live some days for him. Dilla's Delights is named Dilla's Delights because me and my niece Sean felt that his two daughters Paige and Jemiah would be the delights of his life. And we did not want to open the donut shop without his legacy being honored.
When certain people come up to me and they tell me like what he's done and how their music has like changed them, it's kind of like a wow moment, you know?
He has touched so many people in his short time here. His legacy just continues to live on. The thing I love most about Uncle Herman is he's just very warm and open, and he'll push you to go better.
He seems like he wants the best for you.
Work hard. Don't wait on something to be given to you. If you want it, go get it, you know?
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are
exactly.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
To find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for?
Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
Are you ready?
We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here. A very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Excuse me, what size shoe you wear? Can I ask you what size shoe you wear? Can I give you a pair of sneakers for free? Yeah? Here, Mr. Daniel, try these on for me, please. Everything that we do, especially as New Yorkers, starts with our feet. They're good? There you go, man. That's for you. No, thank you, Mr. Daniel. Appreciate you.
Good, because it's a little pain because all the time with it. And I take it one time off a week, maybe, if I want to take a shower.
Wow.
Yeah.
There are 67,000 less fortunate or homeless people in the state of New York. Almost 2,000 to 3,000 of them are walking around with no shoes on. They're people just like us, and they should not be forgotten. It's From the Soul is a nonprofit organization providing sneakers to the less fortunate. We are a store for them. We do not call them homeless. We call them less fortunate because we believe in one day they will move into a place of becoming fortunate. Companies have now donated towards our organization. Regular people have donated to our organization. Everybody can look into their closet. Every single person can look in their closet and see something that you know you're not gonna wear anymore. Now the bridge between that is something you're not gonna wear anymore and finding who needs it. 2012 till today, we have given more than 30,000 sneakers. My main mission is to educate people that helping the less fortunate can be enjoyable. How you feel? You all right?
No, man. Yeah. You know what's nice is that some of these sneakers I remember growing up really wanting.
I came from Barbados when I was 4 years old, and I've lived in Brooklyn, New York for 41 years now. I worked as a stylist, a client specialist in fashion for 20 years. I'm tired of seeing less fortunate people with no sneakers on when the sneaker culture is a billion-dollar industry. Every 12 to 13 blocks, there is a sneaker store. How can there be less fortunate people walking around with no comfort? We're asking for gently worn or brand new sneakers. We don't believe in giving anything that we would not put our feet into. I haven't provided in about 2-3 weeks. So because I haven't provided in 2-3 weeks, they're gonna be there waiting for me today. There's 30 sneakers in these 2 bags, and we're gonna make sure that some less fortunate people are walking very comfortable today. My first time going, or first couple of times, I didn't know where to go. But as I continue to do it, I realized that there's 4 areas I go. 14th Street, Union Square, Madison Square Garden, Penn Station, Port Authority Bus Station, Grand Central Station. Those 4 areas, 24/7, they will be there waiting for you. Can I give you a pair today?
Yeah, I believe
okay.
Andre.
All right.
You already know I love you.
All right, man.
Everybody out here in the city love Andre.
I'm feeling good, man.
Everybody gonna want to see you.
There you go. And I want to see everybody too, man.
I know you do.
All right, family. Enjoy your day, man. It's From the Soul was started 8 years ago. Me and my friends were playing basketball. I seen a gentleman walking by limping. Then I looked down, he had on no shoes and no socks. What size shoe you wear? 9.5? I got you. So I ran up to the gentleman and I said, excuse me, sir, can I ask you what size shoe you wear? He told me to leave him alone, get out of his face. And I said, I'll leave you alone if you just tell me what size you wear. He said the last time he remembered he wears size 10. Something in me that I said, how many more less fortunate people are in this city like this gentleman? I gotta look in my closet and see how many sneakers I have that I don't wear.
Thank you.
All right, lovely. Thank you, family. Thank you. Thank you. I started walking around New York City every day in my closet grabbing sneakers that I didn't even wear, looking for people who wear from 10 to 12 and started providing my sneakers to them. When my sneakers ran out, I started asking all my friends and their family for their sneakers. And then that's how It's From the Soul grew. Can I give you a pair of sneakers for free? Yeah, follow me, please. Try these on for me, please. Some nice, good New Balance, super light, comfortable.
What's up?
What's going on, man? How are you? Hey, what's up? How's everything?
Good, good.
All right, give me 1 second. I'll be with you, okay? We tie their sneakers for them, help them put their sneakers on. We want them to feel dignity. We want them to feel like they're coming into a sneaker store. You do? Okay. The new 580s, so when you step down, it has that cushion in it. That makes it more comfortable.
Yeah, I need a car. I just had an operation.
Yes, well, bless you, man. Bless you. A lot of the less fortunate people, they don't understand, why would you want to give me something that you probably can sell? So we have to change the narrative and let them know we are here to help. We are not here to get anything from you. All right, yeah, Mildred, yeah. They fit, right? Oh, yeah, there they go, there you go. The things that I usually complain about, shows me that the things that I complain about, they really don't matter. Because now other people are providing for less fortunate, and they send us the video, they send us the picture, so that we could see that we have inspired them. So now that this organization is growing the way it is, now that people feel the need that they need to give out of their closet or give their resources, it's just an incredible feeling.
It has been a long year.
Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Good morning. Welcome to Today. Nice to have you with us. We wanted to surprise Ellie and make her wish come true. What do you think about coming to visit us?
Yes. There's only one thing that people are saying.
You are having sex.
Make the most of your day with Today All Day. Get closer to all your friends at Today in a whole new way.
Today in
30. We give you a mix of everything you love about our show
in a mere 30 minutes.
Shop today with Jill Martin.
We're helping you shop like never before.
The latest styles and biggest names. Today food.
Things are heating up in the Today All Day kitchen.
Cooking essentials and recipe inspiration.
Get ready. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Only on Today All Day.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. Do you accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Meet the Press Chuck Toddcast, free wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
The impact boxing has had on my life has been something that I would have never imagined from when I first started. Boxing has a negative connotation. Typically, we think violence and we think fighting and we think anger, and it's actually the opposite. It teaches you control and release. Boxing has allowed me to take my story and feel strong enough in order to help others start their story, start their process, feel good about themselves. My name is Jessica Margulies. I am a teacher for autistic children for New York City. I also am a trainer at Title Boxing.
Welcome to Title Boxing Club.
Cross, hook, cross. Good job. Back it up.
I started Spectrum Bout about 5 years ago. I started boxing in order to alleviate stress from the job of working with children with special needs. I felt confident, strong, and it hit me, this would be such a great feeling for children with special needs to feel. There's something really structured about boxing. I hit, you hit. I follow a sequence, 1, 2, 3. Children who are on the spectrum love structure. Some kids that could not be coordinated in anything else, parents had told me, as soon as they put on the boxing gloves, it just clicked. Good, Joshua, stay here, stay ready. Jab, jab, cross, jab, jab.
Joshua started this. He wanted to do boxing because he's very, whatever way the wind blows, if you will, if something he wants to get into, he'll say, Mom, I'd like to try that.
Boxing, it's the sport of combat, and me and my brother are very interested in it. A way you'll stay fit, strong, and brave.
When I tell people I'm teaching kids with autism how to box, I get either a shocked look, a nervous look that I would get from parents, a little, I'm not sure about this, but a lot of the times I've been getting a positive, loving feedback from this program.
Cross, hook, cross.
I've been working with children with autism for over 11 years now. I worked in early intervention, so at 2 years old, the kids can get classified. And I just fell in love with everything about it. Kind of like boxing. From the outside, it looks very aggressive, a lot of challenges, but it's actually opposite. I loved the challenge and the hard work and the patience that it took in order to help someone progress through life in a positive way.
Joshua is a very engaging individual. He likes to meet people, he likes to engage them in conversation, and he likes to tell them the things he likes to do.
My pet lizard name is Frederick.
He loves to talk about his dragon lizard. He loves to talk about his favorite foods. He loves to talk about places he's been. My husband and I first found out that there was a problem, I think it was about 7 or 8 years old. Little did we know at that time we were going to go down the same road as we did with his older brother, who was already diagnosed with autism. Jabari got the word of being autistic when I was pregnant with Joshua. So we were ultimately able to get Joshua into the same school as his brother. He'll be graduating in June, and we're looking at to what his next step is going to be.
I've seen many changes in him since he started doing boxing. With boxing, he developed discipline. If Joshua was mad about something, he would deal with the situation in a way that's probably not appropriate. But since he's been doing boxing, he takes time out to analyze the situation first and then, express himself rather than just like being upset about it. It's really made him more disciplined, more controlled, and I can see him becoming a man.
I always tell parents this program is actually a teaching tool for those aggressive students that don't have an outlet to release that aggression and they're holding it in all day, or maybe they're acting upon it. But we teach them here, we only hit when our gloves go on.
I think he likes engaging with others, the sparring. I think it's given him a sense of confidence as well because he's a lot calmer than what he used to be. The world at times could be a very cruel pace, and you're just hopeful that there will be people who will understand our kids and help them.
What I'm most proud of what I've done about this program is giving these kids a voice, an outlet, a place to release, a place to feel accepted and know that they have every right and opportunity that you and I have. They need to feel it's okay to be frustrated, it's okay to not know the answer, it's okay to be scared, but they are strong and they deserve every opportunity. And I think I've given them a place to learn all of that.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. Are you ready? We're going to do our part to spread the word on the importance of vaccines, so crucial for reopening America.
A big day around here, a very special naturalization ceremony.
Many of them doctors, nurses, other essential workers.
If you are a nurse, thank you.
Spring has sprung, guys, and we want to fill this season with some fun and surprises.
Yes.
This is the face of excitement. Celebrating Earth Day. Let's change the world. Love it!
It has been a long year. Yeah, where it's been anything but normal.
Well, now there's hope. The COVID vaccines.
I know. It's been a little confusing.
Like really confusing.
So it's more important than ever to make a plan. Visit planyourvaccine.com
to find out where and when to get your vaccine.
What are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Plan your vaccine.
Some experts say that this bill still isn't enough. You accept that criticism? There's been a ton of confusion from the CDC. Can we try to clear some of this up? Is America safer today with the Taliban in charge of Afghanistan?
If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Will coronavirus come back next year?
So to help make sense of it all, we've created a newscast just for them. Man, you know a lot. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
I remember when I first started playing Scrabble in jail. Kept my mind off everything, which really helped me, you know. It just got really, really scary for a while, but I'm just glad I'm out helping other people.
You're a miracle man.
I'm thankful
Yeah?
that I made it out on the other side because there's a lot of people that don't.
And look at the good Scrabble player you've become.
My name is Doug Bobst, and I'm from Timonium, Maryland.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I was 14 years old when I first started smoking pot.
8.
I remember taking my first hit off a marijuana pipe, and I felt like that any worries, any pain, any fears I had were gone, you know, when I was high. One thing led to the next, and I started doing painkillers, and one 5 milligram Percocet snowballed into me putting a few hundred milligrams of Oxycontin up my nose every day, and really, really going down a path that I thought I was gonna either end up rotting in jail or being dead. I got arrested on Cinco de Mayo 2008. I was riding around with a few of my friends to go pick up some Oxycontin, and I had a half pound of pot in my trunk, $2,000 in cash, and we were going to make a drug deal to pick up some pills. I see a cop running radar. I flash my high beams thinking that would like prevent him from seeing my busted headlight, and he pulls me over, you know, and one thing led to the next. I'm out of the car, I'm in handcuffs, he searches it, and I knew at that point my life was over. I reported to jail a few weeks later, a week after my 21st birthday. I was crying, I was, you know, high as a kite on opiates, and I detoxed in there cold turkey for several weeks of all the, you know, horrible withdrawal symptoms you hear about from opiates. It feels like you're trying to crawl out of your own skin, for one. You're vomiting regularly, you're going to the bathroom regularly, you got stuff coming out of you, you don't know where it's coming from, you feel like a zombie almost, a lot of pain, a lot of aches, a lot of anxiety. Because for me, I was self-medicating with the opiates. I wanted to numb the pain, I didn't even think about my life anymore. Obviously, there's an opiate epidemic, there's a drug epidemic, but I think there's also like a big mental health epidemic. And I think instead of people, raising their hand and saying, hey, I need help, because it's so stigmatized to admit that you have depression or you have anxiety or you have bipolar or whatever, we choose to deal with that in unhealthy ways and easy ways, such as drugs and such as other addictions.
So this is a workout routine I got when I was incarcerated, and it was from my cellmate. And my cellmate was the one who really helped me, find fitness and got me into working out. And so I wanted to keep this as a good luck charm.
So I actually met my cellmate at the Scrabble table, and he was like, what are you doing here, man? He looked at me, he's like, what's a guy like you doing? And he's like, you don't belong here. I saw him that night working out, and I was like, man, what's this guy doing? He's doing like thousands of push-ups. He's like, running all these laps and doing all these ab exercises. He was like, you're gonna start working out with me. And I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, there's no way I'm working out. And then one night I was like, what do I have to lose? And I decided to give it a try. And I remember getting down to a push-up. Couldn't do a push-up. Couldn't even do one from my knees. And with his motivation, training me in there every day and being on me, holding me accountable, giving me a little food plan in there, I was able to do 10 push-ups and run a mile by the time I left jail. And I felt like this light bulb go off in my head, and slowly but surely I ended up losing 40, 50 pounds and getting to a place fitness-wise where I wanted to help other people use fitness to change their lives, and that's what inspired me to become a personal trainer.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good. What's up?
Not much. You ready to work hard?
Yep.
There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really rotate your hips. There you go. 1, 2, 3.
We were introduced by someone who's in the recovery community.
20 seconds left, let's go.
And I've got some history in my family and stuff like that, so it's nice to kind of own that, be authentic about it, be able to talk to somebody about it, in addition to, the whole fitness thing.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get some water, all right? Good job, man. I'll see you Sunday, all right? Hey.
Doug, how you doing?
Good, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How are you?
All right.
Grandma.
Hi, hon.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So when I got out of jail, I went to live with my grandparents. And my grandparents took me in. They had some pretty strict guidelines. They said, you can live here, but we'll, we won't charge you rent. We'll feed you and all that stuff, but you're gonna bring us receipts for any money we give you. You're gonna work out, you're gonna have a job, you're gonna make your bed, you're gonna be respectful, you're gonna come home at certain times, you're gonna let us know where you are, and if not, you're out. And that was kind of what I needed, was that tough love.
I can recall when you came to live with us, it was quite clear at that point that you were focused completely.
You held up your end of the bargain, and you did well.
If I hadn't gotten arrested, I'd be dead. I really would be dead, because I was going down a path that, I was snorting enough painkillers to kill a horse, and it was just a really, really bad time in my life. When I was in jail, it was a real big turning point for me, and it really helped me turn a negative into a positive, because I had a lot of laughs in there. I remember from where I was when I first got there to where I left, and I saw the transformation, and it's made me who I am today. Come on, Frank! Come on, Frank! Stuff's still gonna happen because life does happen, but it's like, what kind of tools are you using when that stuff happens? And going for a run, working out with a friend, or going for a walk can all be positive things you can do to feel better about yourself when you're struggling.
Welcome to Today All Day. I am so excited to share some of my favorite stories with you. I've interviewed so many empowering change makers, amazing moms, and even a few of my own family members through the years. I hope you enjoy these stories as much as I do and learn a little something along the way. Now looking back, he's won 8 Grammys, millions of albums sold, inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Do you still have pinch me moments? Like, I can't believe this is my son.
No, I don't say I can't believe it, because I saw the passion back then. To see him doing the things that he's doing now, you know, he has influenced an entire generation of R&B and pop artists. He is iconic. And I know where that came from. It's in his heart. It's his true passion. He can do anything.
Hi, everybody. I know I say this every time, but I mean it every time. I can't wait to introduce you to my new favorite mom. Her son is one of the best-selling artists of all time. He's won 8 Grammys, gazillions of #1 hits. You'll know as soon as you see her with her smile. So let's let this mom into the room, into our Zoom room. Janetta.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Tell us the names and ages of your 2 sons.
And they always get on me about that. Mom, she doesn't even remember our ages. Usher's 43 and James is 36.
Take me back to some of those early